Who is really able to mark the threshold between madness and sanity? This is one of the first questions I asked myself when I watched this audiovisual product for the first time. My expectations were somewhat limited. I would have expected to see a product intended for teenagers, something that would not make you think too much after the vision. I never thought it could have been the subject of my degree thesis, yet here I am. The complexity of the topics covered and the way they were addressed left me speechless. Debilitating diseases related to the most cruel aspects of a society frighteningly similar to ours, child abuse, weapon effect, social and economic degradation, mobbing, and class struggle are just a few of the issues raised through a more or less careful analysis. The thing that impressed me the most, however, is the viewer's ability to identify with a character who has mostly negative traits, but is somehow able to attract empathy for his condition and his lifestyle. Joker is a work made up of illusions, and above all of illusions and hopes, that are sadly destined to remain such forever. A work that transmits a sense of fake freedom, which becomes truthful only when one is able to free oneself from the heavy clots of a conformist citizen of society, to wear one's own, which at least in this case, are scarcely conventional. Is it just me? Or it's getting crazier out there? This is one of the catchy phrases present in the film that are better able to contextualize the paradoxical situation experienced by the protagonist. Context where trying to make a child low on a bus involves the angry reaction of his mother, or in which one can be betrayed by a work colleague without any regard. Context in which you cannot even trust the person who brought you into the world, your own mother, without eventually finding out she has been lying to you your whole life. There are also outstanding settings and soundtrack songs that further adorn the film. These, in fact, end up giving the entire work a sense of mixed feelings. Lyrics of songs such as Smile by Jimmy Durante and That's Life by Frank Sinatra, which have happy and optimistic lyrics that end up colliding with the harsh reality of a man who has many hopes, but who is nevertheless forced to smile due to circumstances beyond his control. The soundtrack therefore acquires a completely different connotation than the one the authors intended to give it during the drafting phase. As for the settings, it can be assumed that these are actually the real protagonists. Garbage and graffiti everywhere, hospital managed in an at least questionable way, prostitution, and summary management of social aspects, which is reflected in mountains of documents with very long bureaucratic and administrative management times, make the viewer question whether the reason for seeing such a disturbed man is found precisely inside this urban decay. One of the other questions that I ended up asking myself while writing my thesis is, why Joaquin Phoenix? Wouldn't it have been better to give the role of the most iconic villain in cinema to a more famous actor? Well, even if his interpretation of the character alone had completely convinced me of the director's good choice, after studying the life of the actor, I no longer had any doubts. The studies I did revealed me the real life difficulties faced by the American actor throughout his life. The loss of his brother due to an overdose, the consequential parting from the acting world, the fact that his parents, even if unaware, forced him to be part of a cult, which justified the act of pedophilia performed by pseudo-religious people, with reasons that were doubtful, to say the least. All this culminated in the choice of a change of surname by the family in Phoenix, a clear reference to the mythological animal of Arab origin, able to be reborn from its own ashes. These are all factors that made me realize that such a character could only have been interpreted by a person who experienced serious problems in life, which could, in fact, have influenced this performance. This all brings me back to my initial question. Who is really able to delimit the threshold between madness and sanity? What criteria do you use to do it? Are you really sure you are right when you claim the right to define a person as normal or as insane? I know these are difficult questions to answer, and I know that the line between psychology and psychiatry is thinner than the average person could believe. However, what I don't know is when I will be able to have the answer to the question I asked myself. Anyway, insecurity, doubts, anxiety, as well as joy, hope, and happiness are all parts of the life we live. And so, to stay on topic, from my point of view, there is no better way to sum them up if not using the expression that's life.